Okay, team. So welcome to tonight's webinar or business builder about the power of Zoom calls. So, I mean, for a good majority of us, we're not probably using this to our advantage, and for those that are using it to their advantage, are growing really quickly. So you can see the guys that are, or the people that are adopting the strategy and growing really quickly. I've been able to grow real quickly off the back of them. And I sort of came about this. I knew that Zoom calls were the way when I came into the business, but I just didn't know how to attack it. And I think like I didn't actually get any coaching on this, so I've had to do a little bit of a trial and error. And I always use with everything I do, I use reflective practice. So I'm always reflecting on how can I make something better? How can I? I'm looking at the time that I'm spending on a Zoom call, how long it takes to do one. How can I reduce that time? How can I be more organized, be a little bit more punchy with the call so I'm not overloading someone with too much information? So all those sorts of things come into play when you're talking to people as well and trying to get them onto the Zoom call. So so the power of the Zoom calls, pretty amazing. Like I've in the past month or 2 months, month and a half, I've really adopted the strategy of using Zoom calls for anyone that's given me the slight interest in the business. So anyone that's given me the slight interest said, I'm quite interested. I'm like, Andy, jump on this call, send him a link, me and him, tag team, bang. Next day they're signing up. And it's that easy because we know that the product's legit. It does all the talking for you. All we need to do is come in and then validate the business and talk about how people can obviously make money because that's what they want to do. Relieve them of any sort of skepticism and stuff like that. So we strip all those little barriers that they have coming into this environment. We strip those away from them. Okay. Now I'm going to start off by talking about the art of a Zoom call and the art of getting potentials onto a three-way call. Now I know a lot of people when trying to get people onto three-way calls, there's always a few hurdles that stop them from getting on. One is price. So if we're talking to a potential customer, promoter that's looking into the business, it's always price. So the price is going to, have I gone? Just a thumbs up if I'm back in. Okay, cheers, Steg. I know because your reaction is always like that. So I'm just, So when I freeze up, just keep on doing that. Okay, so price is always something that tends to put people off. And when we're talking about the price of becoming a promoter, all you need to ensure is that we can't get the stock in fast enough. If that's not something that's going to get them across the line, then you're looking at, well, you're going to make the money on the product straight away. So if they're investing $1,600 in New Zealand, they're going to make $800 on that back. So straight away they're going to be making money on their product. And if they can't get rid of their stock, then we're going to buy it off them. And if you're the promoter talking to your potential, then you just say, well, I'll buy it off you. And then that way it just alleviates that, that anxiety or whatever they've got, that hurdle barrier. Okay. And then you can talk about the bonuses and stuff like that. So, but you probably don't want to talk about that too much when you're, have I gone again? You probably don't want to talk about the bonuses too much when you're getting them onto a call, because that's what will happen, on the three-way call. So it's really just letting them know that, that shouldn't be a barrier. Price shouldn't be a barrier. Also, this is where we really get the hooks in, as the product. So when we're validating the product, we're saying, man, honestly, there's what supplement can give you fat loss, energy, and cognitive function all in one. There's no other. And then we're looking at also muscle retention or preservation, and all those things all in one supplement is unheard of. And there's no other I suppose company in the game that have the depth and the the research that we have, with our product and the people that are endorsing the product. So you can name drop Keegan. You can gain leverage off Dom D'Agostino. So those are all ways that you can get people onto calls as well. Okay, so you want to be able to utilize those things, and then just reassuring to any potentials that there are business mentors that we work alongside. So you've got the likes of myself, Andy, Posto, Steph, anyone else that within this business that is leading the way. Liam, all these guys here are guns at it. So and just make them aware that in the first 2 months we're going to be making sure that they've got every little bit of information they need to move forward into the business, to put their best foot forward. So those are ways that we need to, I suppose, get people on calls. And it's really important that you make you really sort of sell it, not sell it, but be authentic about your approach. And I think when you're genuine about that, it'll happen. Like it happens for me all the time. Well, when I get genuine interest, it's happening all the time. I'm getting people onto 3-way calls pretty easily. So I'm going to go on to the next part of it, and that's how to. Does anyone have any questions on that? Like, does anyone has anyone tried getting people onto 3-way calls? No. Yep. Okay, choice. So I think if you do have potentials that are ready to jump on, then we just need to communicate with your upline and then get somebody to validate. And has anyone seen the power of them? Ray, you've jumped on them. You've been a recipient of one as well.
Yeah, right.
Any feedback on the the Zoom calls and that you've been on, bro?
It's all been pretty positive, eh? Like, it's just validating the product, like whatever negativity they had or whatever, or wariness, sort of soon goes, if you know what I mean? And it just gets them keen and into the product, really. And really, like once you start having the product, it's self-explanatory because you get the results.
Cool. Bro. Awesome. So I just want to go on to how I validate a call. I'm not too sure what other people do, but it's I've sort of, I suppose, worked out 3 main points of a call that I want to go in and validate on the business. And first of all, I just want to talk about my experience. There's 4 things actually. So the first thing I want to go in when I'm talking or validating the business side of things is talk about my experience with the product. I think if you lead with your experience and people, generally sort of get an understanding of how it's worked for you, okay, and then you could use some stories of customers that have got some good results, and then I think that leads into the hooks. So we're talking about a little bit of the sciencey stuff. I think it's quite good that you understand how the product works, how ketosis works, and gauging what the customer or the potential promoter, what their understanding of it is. So then you know where to sort of build on them as well. So build on that information. So I generally start off by asking them, what's your understanding of ketosis? And then they feedback to me what the understanding of ketosis is, and then I sort of fill in the gaps from there. It just gives me a good place to sort of work from and then move forward. So after talking about the product and talking about how the product can benefit potential customers in the various ways, then I start moving into the business where we talk about the comp plan. Okay, talking about how they can make what the investment looks like, how they can make that money back through 5 and 10 day packs. Okay, talking about the bonuses, and then so just reassuring them that we're going to be supportive throughout the process, because it's really important that we alleviate any of those, that they have to be the network marketer that's going to be sort of left to their own devices. Well, no, that's not the case. It's, with our approach, with our community approach, is that we all sort of working as a collective, and it's a collaborative effort that really, have I gone again? No, all good. So yeah, so I think it's really making them understand that we're going to be here every step of the way to do these types of things and upskill and give them the right tools to move into the business. So that's how we do that. And then the last part, which comes into, I generally like to sort of step into so it finishes on a high note, and my high note is the timing, because this is really where we can get them hook, line and sinker. And the timing we're talking about at the moment is that in New Zealand, 70 promoters, and maybe 35 of those are active within the business. Some of those are just sleepers. Okay, so we're talking about a business that's only been around for 16 months, that has only been opened in 3 countries, the States, Canada, and Australia. So that means the rest of the world is closed and not open yet. So we've got a lot of ground to make up, not only in New Zealand. I think it's really important that we, when we're talking to people, that we're thinking on a global scale, as opposed to just what our geographical barriers or boundaries, look like, and in our own little towns and that. So yeah, so timing is really important, and from there, they can start to get a bigger picture of how much growth they can get, because they say timing's about, especially with network marketing, it's about getting in early. Well, like, you can't get in any earlier than this. We're jumping through hurdles just to get the product here, so we've got to send our product to a third-party shipping company to get it here. That means it's pretty new. So that's another way, that's another part of the call that I really enjoy. And then what I tend to finish off with is leverage. So I really finish off with leverage off of either my own success, and what I'm doing currently. So the into like calls that I'm doing now is that, I'm going all in with this. I'm selling my business. That's how adamant, or how keen I am on the business. So I'm putting it all in and putting it all on the line, and building the picture around that. I've poured my heart and soul into my business for the last 5 years, which I've built from the ground up, spend X amount of dollars on investing money, and then that builds a picture for them. Well, if he's doing that and going all in on, on this, then it must, that must count for something. So that's what we need to do. And you can create leverage off the back of what I'm doing. If you can say, oh, well, one of my mentors at the moment, R6, selling his gym, and just, you've got to create leverage some way. I was doing it in the beginning off the back of Costo's success. So Costo had been in the business for 4 or 5 months, and at the time he was earning, like maybe around 16, 18 grand a month. And he sold his CrossFit box as well. So that's generally how I sort of finish a call, just to leave them, with, that reality check that this is the shit, really. And you don't want to miss out on the opportunity, and you just want to make sure that they don't want to miss out on the opportunity, because I generally sort of make them feel like that. I'll even say it to them. I was like, with or without you, this is going to happen. It's going to, it's going to blow up. It's only a matter of time. You can jump on now, or you'll miss out. So that's how, it's got to be real too. So that's what I do. Okay. I suppose the last part I want to cover within this call is really about just being organized. You want to go into like a 3-way call and take it seriously, and go in with a little bit of conviction. I think, we can play it down and just like, oh yeah, I'll just wing it. I'll go on there and I'll wing it. I think if you don't practice what you're going to talk about, don't understand the business, or you don't understand bits and pieces of your spiel or your stories, and it can sound a bit disjointed. It can come across, like you don't know what you're talking about. So we need to make sure that it's a nice polished and we talked about it last Friday on those webinars, is about execution. Execution with everything we do is it should be at the highest level. So we're looking at the finest detail and how the language we're using, and just making sure that we really sort of going with with a little bit of conviction, like I said before. So I think that's about it, really. Andy, did you want to add on to any of what I've said, bro?
Yeah, mate. I suppose, firstly, I just want to kind of validate what you're saying about what you do, because people might be listening to this saying, well, that works for you. But I just want to tell everyone that I've had more freeway calls with this guy than anyone else. And he'll tell you himself, that's one of the reasons why his business has grown so much. And then he's passed that on and he's duplicated that with his downline, and they've done the same, and that's why their business has grown so far. So that's why he's doing this call, is because the power of the freeway call is massive. So we need to really, really believe in that. The other thing I'd like to say is what not to do, because I'm pretty bad at this. I'm not very good at getting people on freeway calls myself. So I'll be listening back over this call and all the rest of it. So question for me to you, mate, is, and it'll be good for everyone else to hear this as well. Every freeway call that you have, do you have that piece of paper in front of you so you make sure that you go through in a certain order? I've been on a lot of calls with you, and we go through the same order of things, and that's why I think we flow really nicely. And I think it's because you're organised and because you want what you want to talk about, that we went from doing freeway calls that may have been up to 45 minutes to an hour. Yeah. And then all of a sudden we're doing 20-minute calls, and then next minute people are signing up. So, I think the other thing, kind of stripping it right back, is I find it difficult, and I know lots of other people will be doing the same here. I find it difficult not to give too much information. Yeah. And I have to really try and reel myself in on that. And as soon as you start to feel like you're giving too much away, I think, and I'm still learning this myself, is when you turn around and say, look, let's get you as much information as possible and get you on a freeway call with this guy. He's amazing. And then you have to really, really sell that person that you're about to get on a freeway call with. So, if I can give anyone any advice about what not to do, it's don't, it's the same Michael Rutherford story. Don't give them too much, play dumb, then get them on the call so you can have a third-party validation, and then your business will grow. Don't give them all the information like I tend to do, because I like to talk a lot, just like what I'm doing now.
Cool. Feel good, man.
All good.
Nah, like you say, and to just back up what you were asking about before about organisation. Yeah, I noticed that we were spending a lot of time on our calls. So there, we, like Andy said, we were spending up to 45 minutes on a call. And I just said to myself that I'm sure that we can get it down quicker without actually having to go the long way about doing things. And I think it's really important that we're constantly doing this with anything that we do within the business, because really we want to time's money, and it's very precious, and that's why we're doing this, is to gain time with family elsewhere rather than having to do these types of things. But I think if we work more efficiently and effectively, and we're organised in that regard, then things are going to happen a lot faster for us. So this is about growing our business as fast as possible. And I think if we're organised, and I just work off those points that I said before, I noticed that if we start with those points, it just flows really nicely into each other as well. And I've played with the different orders. I started with the timing first and having my experience afterwards, but I've found that starting with my own experience, or gauging the customer first and getting what their understanding of ketosis is, then working off my experience on it, then going to the product, then working off the business model, comp plan, all that sort of stuff, and then talking about timing, it starts going climaxing quite quickly, and then you're finished with your boom statement, which is, you know, creating some leverage off the back of people that have done well in the business, you know, about, you know, what I'm doing currently to go all in as well. And then that's a reality check for a lot of people. As soon as you give them that boom statement, it's on. You know, they're like, well, you know, where do I sign up? And that's what we want. We want to leave the call with them wanting to sign up, right? So, and like Andy said, is when we're talking to people and trying to get them onto calls, we can often just overload them with too much information. So I think it's quite important. And I've sort of, like I said, I use a lot of reflective practice. So I noticed in the beginning, I'd be spending like 20 minutes talking to someone on the phone, trying to get them onto like a three-way call. So I would have fed them all the information that they would have got on the three-way call before they got on the three-way call, if you know what I'm saying. But so that was like a dead end street. So what I ended up doing was just giving them a few hooks. Like, so what I tend to do is start the conversation with, like today, for example, I went to go and pick up my ute from my mechanics. He goes, "Oh, how's the business going?" Because he knows that I own a gym. And I said, "Oh, actually, I'm looking at selling it, because I know that's going to be the opening for the keto conversation." And then he goes, "Oh, okay. Oh, what are you selling it for?" And then I just go, "Oh, I've jumped into the supplementation business, and it's too good to miss out on." And then he started asking more questions. And then all I done in the end was I said, gave him a little bit of information, answered a few of his questions, but then I just gave him my business card. So now I've got those business cards that we've made up. Okay, Hook said, you know, get in touch with me. What I'll do is I'll send you some information via Facebook. So I'm going to drop them into the customers page or my Keto Nation group page, and then tag him into a few posts. But I know that he's gonna get back to me because he's got my business card, and then I'll touch base with him. If he doesn't touch base with me in the next week, I'll touch base with him, reach out to him, and then I'll say, "Hey, bro, do you want to get on a call? Do you want to, you know?" And then we'll do it that way. So there's a process that you work through, but I didn't stand there and feed him like for 20 minutes, feed him all the information he needed. I just said, "Hey, yeah, I'm in a rush." And I was actually in a rush. I had to go to the gym to run like a kids class. So I said to him, "Bro, I'm actually in a rush. What I'll do is I'll give you this card, and then we'll tee up via Facebook, and then I'll give you all the right information you need from there." But we need to keep it really short, okay? And I think keep them wanting more. So leave them with a few hooks about the business and a few hooks about the product. But then once they start asking a few more questions, just pull back, pull away. It's like, even if you've got heaps of time, just sort of say, I'll get someone that knows more about the business or something like that to explain it, because I'm only new, or, you know, I don't know everything about it just yet. So, and that's another way of pulling away. Okay, so we just really need to do that, even though you want to stand there and answer all the questions. It's really good to pull away and then let one of us come in and just do all the work for you, because that's what we're here for. So there's a few people that are doing three ways that are really growing quickly. Stag's doing them, myself, Liam's doing them. Andy's really good at validating. He's the first one to admit that he hasn't got many on. So we need that's a work on for him, obviously, and we all got our own work ons. I suppose, like for myself, it's always just fine tuning different ways to get better at doing these sorts of things as well. So, but yeah, I'd really like to see some of you guys putting some more people onto three ways and that. Over the next few weeks, I've set it as a challenge for a few of my teams. And a few of my downlines, I'm getting them to create lists. So a list of 10 people, whether they be customers or promoters, and then we just get them onto a Zoom call. So as soon as we can do that, create a list of people, and these are people that are the closest family and friends that you have that would potentially come on and add some value to your business. And then we get them all onto the same call, or if you think that they might want it individualized, then we can do it that way as well. So where it's just me me, Ray, and his brother were on the call the other day, and it was nice and intimate, and we got that happening pretty sweet. So I think that's one way to really grow your business. We've got a question from Lisa. I'll be available. I'll make myself available. So just, as long as I can hook into internet, my phone's going to be, going, and I'll have my headphones and stuff like that. So, we can set some Zooms up and that, no probs. Another thing is I really would like all of us to add each other on Facebook. So if you can, add the likes of Andy, Stag, yourself, because these are guys that will be able to validate. Stag, you're pretty confident in validating now, eh? You've been on a few calls and that. So I mean, even adding Costo and dropping him a line, he's part of our upline as well. So use him. If anyone's the master at these things, he is the godfather of it. So utilize him. He's good for it as well. Any other questions? Cool. So I just want to reiterate that create your list of 10 people that you want to bring into the business, customers, anyone that's got the slightest interest in the business or the product, and then, like Costo said, we always lead with the business first anyway. So we're gonna cover the product in that chat. So those that are customers will be able to hear everything. They'll be able to hear the business. So potentially they could shift from being a customer to a promoter pretty quickly after the spiel as well. So and that's what we want. We want to give them all the information. Cool. Sweet as, man. All right, that's us for tonight, team. Thanks for jumping on this call. I'm gonna stop this recording and sign out.